Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course stream for fun. Today we're looking at Modern Warfare 3, and this is a look review. So this is looking at a couple of other streamers to see what they have to say, looking through their videos as they follow through the whole review process, if they have multiple videos. And then providing that information and then giving my takes at the end. So this one I have played the beta. Where I've been is I've been at MWIII on YouTube and also MWIII Plays. MWIII has had at least 3 videos so far. He might do another one later. MWIII Plays focused a lot on just the actual campaign with playing it. MWIII focused more on just news about the company and the reception. And so it was kind of a good amount, and I really want to talk about this because I think this is quite a big staple in our industry, and I think this is going to change Activision. So what I'm going to focus on is the campaign itself, the beta test that I was a part of, the multiplayer, the zombies, the development of the game, and Sledgehammer Studios, and then my final thoughts at the end. So this is actually going to be a pretty long one. So strap in. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you've been enjoying the channel, go ahead and give me a sub and all that good stuff. At the end, if you like the vid of me just monologuing for 40 minutes, go ahead and give me a like and stuff. And also comment if I missed anything or what your experiences have been, just to let other people know. Because I think sharing more information is better generally for everybody and can get a better sense of what's going on. So far, the amount of people that have, just on Xbox, that have reviewed this game has been 26,000 reviews of Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox Game Store. That is insane. If you're on PlayStation, if you could let us know what it is on PlayStation or PC, like Steam or something, that would be great. Right now, I think it's like a 2.3 or 2.4 out of 5. And yeah, this game has honestly been pretty brutal, and IGN started the party, which I appreciate, because usually they're pretty great. Like Redfall. Oh, it's a great game. You're gonna love it. Anyway, can't help it. So the campaign. First off, this was a pre-order bonus. So that right there kind of indicates that it probably wasn't overly good. This was about 4 hours, with half of the missions being actual story missions and the other half being an open area, basic repetitive mission space. And what they did is they took the old Warzone map. It looks like the old Warzone map, Al Mazrah, and just put missions in there. Basically fetch quests or things to do, quote unquote. And these missions aren't amazing, but they can and usually are sprinkled through games. But boy, this one that's half of the game. So 2 hours you're actually playing real missions, and the other 2 hours, you're playing in Warzone, which is kind of crazy. It was a good idea, but the execution wasn't done very well, and nobody is really liking this. There's even people on Metacritic, users, that have given this a 0 out of 10. That's pretty freaking bad. But yeah, I do think it's well deserved, because we know Call of Duty's been going down for quite a while, and this is just continuing that process, and it's just hit an entirely new low, and we'll get all into that in just a second. Let's see. Yeah, the game right now, as of on Metacritic, we're looking at quite a few. Professional critics are reviewing it fairly well, somewhere in the middle, like a 4 to a 6, somewhere in there. And then users are giving this a 1.7 out of 10. And that is a good chunk. That's about 1,500 reviews so far. And I'm sure there's going to be more reviewers pretty soon, because it's just the first week of this being released. Hasn't even been out a week yet. But back to the campaign. The enemies in the game, they actually work pretty well. The AI and the programming and all that stuff, they work pretty well in normal missions. You know, they'll take cover, they'll try to flank, all that good stuff. But in the open world mission area, they're really stupid. They're not taking cover. They're basically just running at you, and it can be pretty easy to pick off initially. Later, the game works on just spawning infinite enemies, even enemies that are behind you. So the spawns are all over the place, and pretty much there is nowhere that you can hide out, because they will just completely surround you and then just push in all at once. And there's nothing you can do. As soon as you reload, you're a dead man. And it's just that level of difficulty where the game is purposefully cheating, we would say cheating, and just forcing you to die. So the pretty much the entire open world area, a lot of people are just having to use stealth only and kind of practice. And that's actually, I don't feel like that's really a quality aspect of the campaign. If you want to run and gun, you should be able to, unless the mission technically calls for it, like you're a sniper team or something like that. But if you want to be able to run and gun, you should be able to do that. The game shouldn't punish you for doing that. And so you have to play stealth. And the reason I think kind of maybe they did that is because to say, hey, this campaign is not very long. The open world you could just literally blow through if it wasn't challenging enough to stop you, is just to get you to grind time further in the campaign, which I think is really pretty sickening if they actually did that on purpose. But some games do. They just want you to grind your time and say, hey, it's this long of a game, when really it's just that frustrating of a game. Let's see. Oh yeah, also if you're alerted in the open areas, the missions not so bad. You know, you can hold corners or hold doors and be okay, and they will stop. But with infinite spawning and basically always being alerted, it's very, very difficult too to actually get out of alert and hide again. Even running into a building with nobody following you and closing yourself in a closet or something, they will still find you somehow, and then just, yeah, you're done. So that is pretty unpleasant when playing the campaign so far. Also, when looking at the original Modern Warfare 3 story, there was a conclusion. In this Modern Warfare 3, there isn't one. It's still open-ended. So it's like, are they planning to do a Modern Warfare 4 or 5, or is this kind of gonna be like their campaign live service? Boy, not after this one. The amount of people that are just absolutely pissing on this is pretty much everybody. There hasn't really been too many people that are actually giving this a good review, whether it's critics or users, but of course users are always more harsh and realistic. And yeah, toward the end of the campaign, the story did get a little bit better, especially Matty Plays. He was talking about his campaign experience, and he was expressing that, you know, toward the end, it was actually finally getting invested, a little emotionally involved with the campaign, and it was starting to get fun, and then it was over. And so, it's so incredibly frustrating. And even some of the campaign sequences, I've heard other people chat about this too. Sorry that I can't credit them, I don't remember their name. But they've also talked about some of the missions that they tried to replicate, and they just don't come off the same. And we've seen this in reboots, we've seen this in other IPs and franchises, movies, whatever, right? Is that the writers today, they don't know how to replicate what made games great and what made them good. And as people continue to retire, as people continue to, you know, die out of the industry, unfortunately, or get laid off, we have these new amateur writers and creators that really don't know what they're doing. And I'm going to get into this too further down as we look into the development of Modern Warfare 3. So the beta test. So this I actually played myself. I was on Xbox. I was one of the last, I think it was the last one to be able to beta test for just like a couple of days. And then there was there was like an open weekend period a few days after that where basically like everybody could play. PlayStation, PC, and Xbox all hanging together, having a great time. And so playing it, it's like, I played on a couple of maps. I did have a couple of sessions just to see, but yeah, it was just frustrating. The beta test kind of had a snapshot of the entire game, but it was easy to see that this was just kind of a quick, redone, rehashed kind of a multiplayer. There really wasn't a lot to it. So I played on one of the more popular maps just so I could get in and play as much as I could, not have to wait for load times. And there weren't a ton of glitches. The game actually ran pretty smoothly. I was never kicked from my server, at least that I can remember, which was nice. But like all of the maps that they had available were all of the remastered Modern Warfare 2 maps. And it would have been cool if they would have had a few of the newer ones and a few of the older, you know, remastered ones kind of sprinkled in there, so that not all of the remaster maps were kind of available, or only the remasters were playable, because then that kind of takes the fun out of like, ooh, the new maps with the actual game launch, and I think they kind of goobered on that one. There were also several game modes to choose from, but none of them new. Like I said, yeah, everything ran well, but there were major reports of hackers literally on the second, third day And this was quite brutal because they started really showing up in mass after a while and plaguing the servers. And even I think I said in my stream when doing my beta test, you can look that up if you wish, further back in my video log. But, or maybe I'll have it at the end of this video so you can take a look at it. That would be smart. But yeah, looking at the beta, it's just like some of these people, it's like, okay, you should have died. That should have killed you. There's like me and two other buddies literally shooting with you in the corner behind some cover. Or there were times too where I just felt like I'd die instantly. Even watching the camera, it's just like, okay, that looks a little funky. But definitely some of the like health buffs for hackers and stuff would get incredibly frustrating because you couldn't hold a position, you couldn't fight around a corner. I mean, you just couldn't do anything because by the time you're reloading, they just come up and knife you in the face. And we always loved that. All the PlayStation players also had an advantage over everybody else during the beta. They had advantages in their weapons and their attachments because they were able to start their playtest first. And then they were able to play through the PC, able to play through the Xbox, and then everybody by then was playing at the end. And they were able to, have that advantage. So there were better weapons, there were more attachments, and good grief, starting out was absolutely brutal because I didn't even have any type of a sight. Just iron sights, and I was getting my butt handed out there. It was tough. Overall, with the game, with the multiplayer, there was nothing unique. Everything that I saw, everything that I experienced could have been added through a patch like red dots on the minimap when somebody fires, or could have been shoved into a bundle like all of the remastered maps from Modern Warfare 2. And there wasn't, again, there was nothing special, there was nothing unique. This definitely felt like a cheese from Activision and Sledgehammer Games because this wasn't a full release game. There's no way. Looking into the multiplayer itself, basically it's all remastered Modern Warfare 2 maps. There's maybe a few other regular maps sprinkled in there, but we don't really get that. We might get some of the Modern Warfare 2 reboot maps, which I can imagine you probably would, because everything now is under something called Call of Duty Headquarters, and that's all shoved under one umbrella, and I'll get more into that in just a second. But most of the guns from Modern Warfare 2 were ported over, so that was 60 of them. Plus, you did have to regrind the attachments and stuff, I think. I will test that. I really want to get my hands on a physical copy so I don't have to spend money, because it's really not worth $70, even $60. This isn't even worth $40, folks. Just keep playing the older stuff. Or just go back to Modern Warfare 2. What we did get is that we got, I think, 42, 43 guns, so I'll just say 45-ish guns, new guns to grind and whatever. And the attachment system was actually better this time because you didn't have to play some gun or gun class you didn't want to play to be able to unlock another gun, to be able to finally unlock some attachment. The number of attachments was really nice, but Modern Warfare 2 was pretty frustrating with just having to go and switch and be back and forth between leveling up different guns just to unlock other stuff. That was really stupid. I'm really glad they tore that out of there. This time when you unlock the attachment, just like in some of the older Cold Wars, or Black Ops games, or even in Cold War, once it's unlocked, you can shove it on basically any gun you want. Let's see. So I did mention they did add red dots on the map. This also makes UAVs less valuable in the game, because basically you can pretty much see where everybody is, because nobody has a suppressor attachment yet. Some people are invisible, so UAV wouldn't help you then anyway, or they're silent running and stuff like that. But yeah, adding red dots on the map, or changing even just some of the font type of getting 100 points or whatever. It was all just very much reminiscent of Modern Warfare 2, and that was cool. But again, all of these maps could be bundled into a package that people could have had the option to pay for. Again, just like people had the option to buy Modern Warfare 3, and they had the option to do their research. And man, there is a lot of people getting burned on this one. And in my opinion, it kind of serves them right, because how many times can you have the gaming industry absolutely screw you since COVID? And butcher the remasters, screw the collections, make updates to put microtransactions after an initial game's release and debut, so that all of the reviewers don't talk about it, and then they just put in a patch. to add microtransactions like to Resident Evil 4 or Gran Turismo 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever version they're on now. And yeah, how many times can people get screwed before they finally take some responsibility for their spending habits and actually take a look at what the games are like? So for those of you that totally ate pie in the face, you kind of deserve it on this one. Because there were multiple people, including myself, just like, hey folks, please don't spend this, don't buy this, it doesn't look good, it's not sounding great. Even the beta test, you know, again, it's cool for what it is, but it's not worth $70. If you have a ton of money to throw around, whatever, congratulations, you're a lot richer than 99% of us, and you'd probably be considered a whale almost at this point with the inflation. But yeah, this was not worth having. There was nothing that Modern Warfare 3 brings to the table. It's really quite frustrating. Also, Battle Rage was really OP. I'm hoping they fix this, but instead of just being something that, like a field upgrade that you could get, it's now actually can be a part of your kit. And you can just Battle Rage on, baby, and just keep on going and just basically be unstoppable. And I don't think that was available in the beta, but boy, sometimes it sure felt like that. Basically, a lot of the game modes for multiplayer are exactly the same as Modern Warfare 2. So again, there's really nothing added, there's nothing really that's changed. All that's frustrating now is that if you haven't bought Modern Warfare 3, you get it shoved in your face every time you try to play Modern Warfare 2. And that is, yeah, every freaking time. And even if I want to get to a point where I can play multiplayer, I gotta cycle through multiple menus now just to get there. So the UI is horrible and on purpose. It's intentional. It wants you to eventually say, okay, I'll buy it. But hey, folks, have some discipline. Please don't buy it. Put your money toward Black Friday. You're going to be a happier boy. Or girl. Hey, there's 3% of you that actually watch the channel. Glad to have you here. Also, there's no announcement for DLC for the game. Nothing for multiplayer. Nothing for Warzone. Nothing for campaign. Seriously, folks. What the hell did people pay for? Everything's the same. Everything's really botched, choppy, low quality, rehashed. And there's no DLC. How in the world is this a full-fledged premium game? It's not. It's not. They're lying to your face. It's disgusting. Oh boy, let's get into zombies. This will be a short one, folks. So zombies, they took Al Mazrah, the old Warzone map, and put zombies in it. And anomalies and stuff like what we saw from Cold War. If you want to know what it's like, watch some stuff on YouTube, or play your Cold War game and play the open zombie map. That's basically zombies. And I think it can be fun. I think it... I do enjoy the idea. But if you're just playing with yourself, it's kind of boring. Because by the time you get to level 3 or wave 3 in Cold War, you're getting screwed. You're dying out there. The enemies and anomalies are so tough, it's insane. But yeah, I did kind of like that. But it was a different map. It wasn't the same rehashed trash. It was actually a different map, which was cool. And you could kind of like teleport from different locations using portals and stuff, and that was kind of fun. Having more room to explore, more room to kind of feel like you're in a town or a city, that was neat. That's kind of a neat idea, but boy, this one is really executed pretty poorly because we literally know it's just an old asset and they shoved some zombies in there and called it a day. At least these ones, it looks like from what I can see, it's actually better than Vanguard Zombies. And I was thinking of doing Vanguard Zombies for y'all so that you could just hear me whine and complain the whole freaking time as I'm actually playing the game. And then when I get killed, you know, I probably shouldn't have, and then I'm going to rage quit. So, yeah, Vanguard Zombies, oh my gosh. Just when I thought like it couldn't get worse, hold my beer. It's incredible. So the development and Sledgehammer Studios. So this is going to be a bigger one. I'm going to dig into this for a while. So Sledgehammer Games is about 450 employees. They have multiple studios. Initially, Modern Warfare 3, as most of us know probably at this point, is that it was supposed to be a DLC. But then they turned it into a full game. Now, the whole development cycle for this was about 15 months. But you'd have to backtrack a little bit if you changed gears and was now going to make a full game. And it's like, okay, kind of back to the drawing board. How are we going to do this? How can we make it more valuable so we can charge this $70? So yeah, it's 15 months. It's not long enough for a full game. We all know that. Maybe for an indie game or something. But I necessarily cannot give them a pass on this, because something else I'll talk about in just a second. But generally, yeah, you need at least a couple of years to actually put something together and test it properly. Maybe test it somewhat for quality assurance. But generally, 3 years is, excuse me, kind of the minimum for most games, smaller games. But if they're bigger, they're going to take 5-6 years. So like if we look at Elden Ring, that is an absolutely massive game. And that game was like 6-8 years in development. It's huge. It's a long time. But Call of Duty, Activision has to do something different, because they can't keep shoving out a COD every year and building it off of DLC and whatever. And I wonder, too, if Modern Warfare 4 is also going to be, quote, in DLC idea, because Modern Warfare 3 was. Why do we have any indication that Modern Warfare 4 is going to be any different? We know they didn't finish the actual story with Modern Warfare 3. It's still open-ended. And so we're going to get a Modern Warfare 4. And is that going to be the same trash? Gal, I flippin' hope not. I really hope not. Again, most of this game for development was rehashed from previous games. The maps, the guns, even the skins you could port over, which is nice. You can at least, not have to rebuy them. But the game modes are the same. The zombies is a rehash mess. Again, there's nothing unique about this. The campaign is redone, but the blueprint is entirely there. And then they didn't even finish Modern Warfare 3 campaign. We're going to get a fourth one probably in the future. Maybe next year. Maybe we don't have to wait that long. So yeah, it's just rehashed stuff. So taking a look at Sledgehammer Games, let's look at the previous games that they made. Now the first one that we got to see them on was a collaboration of the original Modern Warfare 3. Back in, I think, 2009, 2010. Maybe that was 11. I can't remember. I'm getting old, folks. Please give me a pass. Thank you for the grace. But that one actually was pretty good, and I really enjoyed survival mode. I enjoyed the story. It was really wonderful. Some people are starting to play the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, and boy, it is a total different ride, isn't it, folks? And even the multiplayer was all on its own and a different thing, and Modern Warfare 3 is a really great game, actually, the original. But yeah, later, we got to see Advanced Warfare. Now, this was made by Sledgehammer Games. I think there was a little bit of collaboration from, like, Raven Software. They're going to come up quite a bit. But I do have the scores from Metacritic, and I'm just giving the user scores. So Advanced Warfare was 2014, had a 5.7 out of 10. And I remember when this came out is that a lot of people liked the idea of somewhat futuristic warfare, which was supposed to be about 40-50 years into the future due to their research. But it was just kind of a meh. It wasn't really that great. It didn't hold up to the older Modern Warfares. It didn't hold up to World at War. It didn't hold up to the Black Ops. It was not as good. And this, in my opinion, was the first period of time where Call of Duty actually really started going downhill. So Modern Warfare 3 campaign, most people didn't like that as much. They liked the older stuff. And I agree, it actually shows a piece of history, and you feel like you get to be a part of something. But yeah, Advanced Warfare, the campaign was fairly good. I enjoyed it, and it was fairly long. And there was kind of a thing where it's like, hey, here's an area, of course not as big, like what we see in Modern Warfare 3, but hey, here's an area, and you can kind of decide what door to breach through. And that was kind of fun. But yeah, Advanced Warfare was a 5.7 out of 10. Next was Modern Warfare 2. This is 3 years later, when they had 3-year cycles between the three main companies, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Sledgehammer Games. Modern Warfare 2 was a 5.1 out of 10. So again, people were hoping just praying for like the old World at War. A lot of stuff at this point wasn't really working. People were frustrated with like Infinite Warfare. That was a total mess. It's just like, okay, let's go back to the roots that started it all, which is World at War. That started zombies. People really enjoyed the campaign, which we have that on the channel if you guys are interested in a playlist. So you can kind of see what that looks like. If you've never played it, please. It's backwards compatible on Xbox, and it is worth every moment of your time. But Modern Warfare 2, yeah, 5.1 out of 10. Some of the game modes were fun. Some of the maps were actually pretty good. But a lot of places actually felt really small, where they tried to capture some of the areas where battles took place, but the maps themselves were too small. And so it would get frustrating. You could literally have somebody stay on a particular area, see almost the entire cross-section of the map, and then anybody that would move into place just boop, and that was it. And that was incredibly frustrating. One game mode that was fun that we haven't seen come back, as far as I remember, is that you actually move and escort a tank to move forward up a street or through kind of part of the map. The other team tries to stop you, and the other team tries to protect the tank as it moves forward. And that actually was kind of a fun game mode. It was pretty intense sometimes. Next was 4 years later with Vanguard. This was 2021, and this has a 3.6 out of 10. And this really was not liked for very many people. Again, this was just a couple of years ago. And, yeah, flippin' brutal, folks. The campaign was okay. It still really wasn't great. It was kind of like looking at a small group during World War II and kind of their mission, right? And there was some mild personality there. The voice acting wasn't great, but hey, you could tell at least they were trying. The multiplayer was incredibly frustrating because of the blueprint weapon system, which I can't wait to try it in Modern Warfare 3 by the same company. But the blueprint system was incredibly frustrating because it actually gave an advantage, and since you could pay to get ahead, it kind of felt like it was pay to win. And so if you didn't have a blueprint weapon, oh my gosh, you literally could not do anything. You were basically just going to die. That's what you were there for. And the zombies was just puke, dude. I mean, just, yeah, such a disappointment. I will be a Black Ops fan forever for zombies, especially Black Ops 3 with Zombie Chronicles. That is one of the best things they ever did for zombies, and I freaking love it. I wish they could literally shove all of them into just one package, dating all the way back to, you know, World at War, but they'll probably never do that because it doesn't make enough money for them, which is incredibly stupid. Next, of course, we get to see Modern Warfare 3, which is a couple of years later in 2023, and this was a 1.7 out of 10. Brutal. Just brutal. Now, this score generally looks at... The critics look at just the campaign. They don't really look at the multiplayer or anything else. The users of Modern Warfare 3, they're looking at the entire game. And so, yeah, 1.7 out of 10. I think that is accurate, and that is the lowest ever of any game. Also, some of the worst games considered in the entire Call of Duty IP are all made by Sledgehammer Games. The only other one that I can think of that's pretty bad is Infinite Warfare. And that was made by Infinity Ward. But everything else has been fairly good, comparatively speaking. If you take them all and look back at the old stuff, well, they all suck, right? The old stuff is wonderful, the new stuff is horrible, but generally speaking, compared with different studios, Sledgehammer Games is the one that's fallen behind. So let's keep going. So what's really going on? What's happening with this? Why are all of the games that Sledge is putting out just kind of a pile of garbage or just a decrease in quality? The real issues seem to happen back in 2018 when two of the co-founders of Sledgehammer left. So there was some disagreements there. World War II had just come out. It wasn't received very well. They decided to leave. One of them was actually the creator of Dead Space. When then he started striking distance and made Callisto Protocol, which we all know how that went. The other one went to go work for 2K Games. So yeah, hopefully they're doing well. I don't think the one that created Dead Space initially and also Callisto Protocol is doing very well. because he already left striking distance, and now he's going to, quote, pursue other opportunities. So good luck to him. He just keeps hopping ship, folks. It's not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. Also, with the collaboration of Modern Warfare, the first reboot, Sledgehammer Games and Raven couldn't get along, and so they were actually cut from production from the game, at least initially. Treyarch came in and took over, which Treyarch wasn't supposed to, but they did. And I kind of wonder if this messed up the flow, too, because it wasn't Treyarch's turn. Treyarch made Cold War in 2019, which is a wonderful campaign, by the way. Really enjoy that one. The multiplayer seems fairly fair as well. And then, God, what do they... Yeah, the zombies are actually pretty fun, too. And again, that's where that open map zombies is. But yeah, actually, it's pretty good. Cold War is pretty good. I enjoy that one. Plus, it has Prop Hunt. Man, I wish they would bring that back. That's so fun. Maybe Lion and I will show that to you someday. But again, who's got 200 gigs on their hard drive? Not me. Anyway, so it was Treyarch's turn. They basically took over development of Modern Warfare 1. It is a fairly good reboot. They did a pretty good job. It was released in 2020, but eventually, before production was over, Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software were brought back into the fold to finish Modern Warfare 1 reboot. So, hopefully they were able to fix some stuff, but those issues, those tensions started after the co-founders left, and they got some new leadership in there, and stuff was not going right. Let's see. Also during this time, Sledgehammer Games also made some new studios. Around the time of Modern Warfare 1 reboot and after. So they made new studios in Australia, Canada, and the UK. Looks like actually 2 in the UK. And so they made quite a few more studios, but these were inexperienced employees. These weren't new guys. Plus, we didn't have the same leadership anymore. And again, it's nothing to knock on newer employees, but folks, when we all get a new job, we're the new guy on the block, and we don't know much. We have to be trained, right? That's normal. And that's okay to be in that position. Just don't stay there forever. And so we had a lot of newer employees in the next several years where the quality just was not going to be as good. And they also weren't going to be as efficient or as quick. So the games that Sledgehammer was likely going to put out likely weren't going to be that good. Now, we also had Vanguard in 21, and we got to see what kind of a mess that was. And now we get to see Modern Warfare 3, and that is just the biggest pile of trash this side of the block. It's horrific. So let's take a look at Vanguard's development. So this was headed by Sledgehammer Games, and there were other studios. Listen to this. High Moon, Beanox, Raven Software, Treyarch, Activision Shanghai, Toys for Bob, which did the remasters of Spyro the Dragon, by the way. Wonderful if you have kids. And then Sumo Digital. This was a total of 8 studios. Now, I haven't looked up all of the, members, but, I mean, they had over... roughly, they probably had about 1,500 people, maybe a little more. Yeah, I just ran out of time last night. But yeah, they probably had about 1,000, 1,500 people working on Vanguard, and that's the quality that came out. So is it really just too many irons in the fires? There's too many studios? Was the leadership at Sledgehammer still not great after the co-founders left? Because even though Sledgehammer was making the lesser quality games, they were still better than what they are today. And just where Sledgehammer quality has gone is just unbelievable. I mean, it's just gone absolutely down the drain. And this is not only going to, put some mistrust in Sledgehammer, this is going to put mistrust in Call of Duty. And this could honestly damage the franchise. And I think, honestly, it already has. I really think it could damage the franchise long term. Because some of the older games, they're getting better. Apex is still running. Fortnite has seen some of the biggest numbers ever for player counts since they brought the original map back. We're also looking at Battlefield 2042 improving for multiplayer. I mean, they got some competition now. And it's not just like, oh yeah, it's just Call of Duty. Okay, now it's like, oh, it's Call of Duty. And for some of us, that's been a while. And for me, that's been since 2015. I really liked Battlefield. That was my bread and butter and joy, folks. And then Battlefield, it's like, okay, Battlefield 5, Battlefield 2042, what the hell's going on? Why are you guys butchering this up? So yeah, Vanguard was a mess, but with 8 studios, that's incredible to me. It's like, that's what they could put out. Especially the Zombies by Treyarch. That's flippin' embarrassing. It should not have been that way. Also, we did look at Modern Warfare 2, and as those of us that have played it, we get to see it every time we boot up the game, maybe, is that there's also a lot of studios making Modern Warfare 2, including Sledgehammer Games, but Sledgehammer didn't lead. It was Infinity Ward. So different studio heading up the charge, and Modern Warfare 2 is a heck of a lot better than Vanguard was. And it's a heck of a lot better than Modern Warfare 3. Modern Warfare 3 is, of course, led by Sledgehammer Games. We have, again, High Noon, Beanox, Raven Software, Treyarch, Activision Shanghai, Toys for Bob, and this time Activision Central Tech and Infinity Ward. So that's a total of 9 studios this time instead of 8. Now again, 15, 16 months is not long enough to make a game, but I mean, we're talking about there's thousands of people working on this one. Infinity Ward is freaking huge. It's massive. Probably not everybody is working on it, of course, but still, you probably got hundreds of people just from Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer Games being almost 500 people. You probably got 1,000 just there. And then you got the other 7 studios that are making the game. What the heck happened? Why is it this low a quality? It's crazy. I mean, yeah, you think about this, and it's just like, man, Microsoft really has a problem, folks. Buying this for $69 billion. I think it's good that they have the IPs, but boy, they really need to fix some of these studios. So kind of like, I think we need to go back to a 3-year cycle again, where studios have 3 years to actually make a game. That's a minimum. I think they should have more like 5 to actually produce something good. But that's just me. Because, yeah, during that cycle, we had better quality games, even though they weren't perfect or great, right? They were still fairly good. Or at least they're kind of in the middle. Now they're not even in the top third. They're getting brutal. But we had better quality games. And Sledgehammer Games made also some better games. But no matter what, their games have always been horrible, regardless of the era. Whether it's Modern Warfare, World War II, whatever. Also, with 9 studios with Modern Warfare 3, 15, 16 months, it just blows my mind that's the best they could do. Because when we take a look at Assassin's Creed Mirage, this was about 3 solid years of development from a DLC. This is still kind of a short period of time, but this was just one studio. There was nobody else. And this was a studio of 300. Yeah, so there were no supporting studios. It's literally just them. And then still, Mirage scored a 7.5 out of 10. Again, it wasn't perfect. There were issues with combat. There was problems too with stealth. You could kind of cheese a lot of the enemies and stuff. And I've even seen some shorts of people like saying, hey, look what Assassin's Creed used to be compared to Mirage. So this whole idea of DLC into a full game, we need to quit that. But Mirage had 3 years, 1 studio, 300 people, 7.5 out of 10. It was $50, not $70, and it was 20 hours of gameplay for the campaign. I mean, what a difference. Modern Warfare 3 is 4 hours for the campaign. Half of the campaign is just old assets from Warzone. Most of the guns are from Modern Warfare 2. A lot of the skins are from Modern Warfare 2. And that's the biggest push that they had in Modern Warfare 3, folks, was the skin bundles, which is disgusting. Almost all of the maps are all of the maps actually are rehashed. Remastered Modern Warfare 2 maps, that's great. But again, it needed to be a bundle. It doesn't deserve a full game price. They still have a hacker problem. And the zombie, yeah. I mean, this is just a flipping train wreck. It's an absolute train wreck. And if one studio can make Mirage for $50 for 20 hours of gameplay, and there's a level of satisfaction and enjoyment there, going back to the old days, why couldn't Modern Warfare 3 have that with Sledgehammer Games taking the lead and 8 other studios? Again, I understand it's 16 months, but that's the quality you put out in 16 months between 9 of you? That's crazy. That's unacceptable. This should have been delayed, but they didn't do that. And that's Activision's fault. Looking at Steam charts right now, Modern Warfare 3. Well, you can't look at Modern Warfare 3 or even Modern Warfare 2 or Warzone anymore because they're all merged into, quote, Call of Duty. So, again, this is where it comes into Call of Duty headquarters. So now just going to have an umbrella or a hub, and all of the other games from now on, in my opinion, are going to be plugged into the hub of headquarters, and that's how you're going to access all of your games. So you got a whole nother thing to download, which is like headquarters, I think, is 50 gigs. You got a whole more menus to go through, which I already talked about that with getting to Modern Warfare 2. Even when plugging in my game for Modern Warfare 2, it doesn't boot up like it did. It's like, ooh, Modern Warfare 3, and then I got to work through multiple menus just to actually play Modern Warfare 2. It's really stupid UI. They shouldn't have done it. But this all has a greater purpose, folks. And I really hope I'm wrong, but I think it's because of NFTs. Let me say that again. I think it's because of NFTs. Because if they have a centralized hub under one umbrella, NFTs have more value because you can trade it more easily, you have a bigger player base, and you can also have it be interchangeable between games. We already know that Sony is doing this in the future with their live service games because they've patented the technology on their end to actually be able to do that. So is Activision doing the same thing? And is this Microsoft's doing? Or is this actually something Activision came up with on their own before the deal? I don't know, folks. I think the future is going to be interesting, but it's also kind of scary. It's kind of scary. Because the main selling point of Call of Duty now is not the gameplay, it's not the fun, it's not the missions, it's not walking back and be like, ooh, wow, that was fun. I really feel satisfied about that. It's not even about making you happy anymore. It's about the addiction of collecting stuff. Hoarding. And that's what they're selling you now. That's what Call of Duty is. And Modern Warfare 3 is so blatant about that. So yeah, let's get back to the Steam charts. Sorry about that. So yeah, all of them are now merged, right? And even with all three being merged, they only have a peak of 138,000. They almost had 1 million just for Modern Warfare 2 when it launched last year. So we're talking about one game at 500K, and now we're talking about 138K for 3 different games. And I guarantee you, most people are playing Warzone. That's their free-to-play game. So this is a problem. The average count right now, as of yesterday, is about 75K. And there's plenty of other games well above that right now on Steam. I don't see anybody playing Modern Warfare 3 on my friends list. I saw a lot of people play the beta. But yeah, nobody actually playing the game. Which is good. We need this type of pain in the industry, folks. So Activision seriously needs to change something, or Call of Duty is just going to completely die. And the old ones are going to stay alive. We know that's probably coming to Game Pass on Xbox at some point, because they've added matchmaking again. The matchmaking isn't perfect. You really got to kind of have a good connection. It doesn't hold your hand. But my connection's great. I haven't had any lag issues. There's still some hackers in there, but I'm pretty sure Activision is eventually going to fix that once they get them to Game Pass. But yeah, they got to get through this Modern Warfare 3 problem first. And we also have Warzone. People are still going to play Warzone. I still play with some buddies. It's fun. We have a good time. And if we win, that's a bonus. And we're able to catch up and stuff. It's just kind of like going to a coffee shop, except the coffee shop has guns and stuff. And we get to kill people and die ourselves. And it's a great time. We have a great time. Also, I believe Sledgehammer Games needs to be removed from leadership roles in the future. utilize them as a studio, let them keep making their money and their bread and butter. But honestly, every game that they've made since 2014 hasn't held up to the other studios' games at that time. So something's got to change, folks. Sledgehammer, even with the better leadership, still couldn't produce good games. Even the zombies for Advanced Warfare, it's just like, what the frick? So yeah, I think Sledgehammer's in trouble. We'll see what happens, but Modern Warfare 3, it's already a dead game. And there's no DLC coming, there's nothing. It is as it is, and we gotta wait next year to see what's gonna happen with Call of Duty. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I hope you really enjoyed that. If you did, please like and sub and all that good stuff. You can find me at Twitch, Don't Tread on Thee, and also Gaming Garbage 22 over at YouTube. But what's going to help me more is that you guys actually share the video with other people. I really think that's how I'm going to branch out more on YouTube. Because right now, I don't think the algo really likes me that much, and that's okay. This isn't monetized. I'm never going to monetize this channel. But I'm going to leave it up here. You are going to be able to see and watch my little playthrough of the Modern Warfare 3 beta and my thoughts at the end, which I just basically rant for 15 minutes. Because, yeah, you could tell it wasn't going to be good. It wasn't going to be good. I'm sorry for those of you that wasted your money. But, man, if you feel like it was a waste of money, hopefully you can learn this time. Because the more of us choose to withhold our money during this tough time of the economy, the better we're going to be able to have better games in the future. And companies aren't done trying to screw us, folks. So we got to apply the pressure now. And there is hope. There are a few companies like The Escapists. A ton of people just left that company. Just said, no, we're not going to do this. And folks, you have a choice for the company that you work for. I think you should really think about that. If the management sucks and complaints don't go up the chain like they should, it's time to work somewhere else, right? Also, if you got to think about the future of the company that you work for. Because if they're not putting out good products, good service, you may not have a job there in a couple of years. And there's been a lot of layoffs right now, and even some studios, they've been totally shuttered this year. I mean, Destiny is going down in the dumps. I hope Sony's enjoying that dumpster fire. But man, Microsoft has several of their own. The only one that's not having trouble is Nintendo. Because they don't microtransaction and live service their stuff. Maybe the others should learn from that. They really should. I'm actually thinking to see if I can get a Switch. Because I would love my children to be able to play some of those games in the future. So anyway, go ahead and like and share. Like and sub. This channel will never be monetized. Hopefully it's going to improve. But if I ever do ask for money, it's going to be an option. I'm never going to put ads. It's going to be more like a Patreon subscription thing or something else, or merch maybe, or whatever. But again, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy helping people not get screwed over. And I really enjoy my passion for gaming, and I love sharing it. I really love sharing it. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Remember to plan some for Thanksgiving. And even if things aren't perfect, spend time with your families, folks. Maybe you don't realize it today, but you'll realize it later. That really, family is the only thing you got at the end of the day. And yeah, sometimes they can be incredibly frustrating and annoying, or even hurtful. But I mean, if you choose to walk away, sometimes you can never fix those relationships. So it's good to keep them in check. It's good to keep yourself in check. And to invest even when it's really not that fun. It's a good reminder for myself too. And folks, hopefully with that, you guys are having a good one. I'll see you next time.